Welcome everybody to another episode of the Get Inside Me show on on Spreaker Radio with your host Ms. PATU Loca. I'm excited. I am so thrilled to yet again bring again Mr. Paul Lamar Hunter from his great astounding book about the 19th child, the success story. And of course, if you guys had tuned in last week, you guys would have saw that we had a great conversation that we had to continue on with a part two. Mr. Paul Lamar, say hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing
Thank
great.
you for bringing me back on the show.
Well, no, it's my pleasure. Of course, I'm very ecstatic and excited. Of course, for all of you mothers, because Mother's Day was just a few days ago. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. So, before we get into you, Mr. Hunter, how was your Mother's Day?
Oh, my day was great. I did a radio interview about 4 hours ago. So, hey, I love sharing my story of perseverance.
Yeah,
so it has been a great day.
Is there ever a time? Because I know for myself, since I've been interviewing people for so many years, has there ever been a time where you kind of get annoyed by probably being asked the same questions over and over again, or to you don't even, it doesn't really bother you?
No, the question is the same, and so it really doesn't bother me. I'm just excited about sharing my story with the world because my story resonates with a lot of people who had a parent that was a narcissist. So it's just it's just a joyful moment for me to just share my story with the world.
Now, speaking of sharing the story with the world, you got to share a piece of when I got to ask you a question about can you see yourself writing any more books? Because a lot of times, with writers, it's like a hush-hush thing. They keep it to themselves, or they let it become one of those things that's like, oh, dun, 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 dun. Here you guys go. I'm going to come out with a book. But surprisingly, you did answer my question. You said you're coming out with more books.
Yes, I'm going to write 3 more books. And I can't give you the title right now, but I'm just writing 3 more books, and then that's going to be it. Unless I'm led to go back and do something else. And so I'm just going to write 3 more books, and that's it. And I'm just hoping that the 3 more books that I do write, it will inspire more people to be the best that they can.
One of the questions I received from a listener was if you weren't a writer, even though they heard that you said, well, even though on the last interview, last Tuesday, you did say that your dream as a kid was just to be a writer. But say, for instance, because you know how you have people who have aspirations and dreams and it doesn't work. The ones who are blessed are able to do what they love. And so the writer was pretty much, not the writer, the listener was pretty much asking, if you weren't a writer, like if it didn't go down the way that you had it planned, what else would you have been doing?
I think that I would be teaching basketball, the fundamentals of basketball. I will be tutoring students when it comes to academics, and I would just serve the community. But I love coaching basketball. It's just what I like about basketball is cultivating a relationship with young men and young women, and also planning and executing and watching everything come together off the basketball court and on the basketball court, and seeing young people's lives being changed, and let them know that it's important to have structure in your life, and also it's important to follow instructions if you want to be successful in life. So I think I will be, somewhere, just teaching. That's it.
Um, Now the next question that I received, and for a lot of you listeners, in case you guys are like, that's no fun, no names. That's only because a lot of times when anyone has any questions or comments that they need to that they would like or don't mind having it shared to the world, I try to contact them back unless they send me a message telling me, oh no, it's okay. They could either do it anonymously or whatever, but a lot of times when they don't do that, I reach out to them, ask them, is it okay for me to go ahead and read their names? And when they don't get back to me on time, I just leave them as anonymous. But anonymously, I will call him Mr. T. Mr. T wrote that hearing your story and how you spoke about your mom last week resonated deeply for me because I went through the same thing but with my father and his grandparents. Okay, from my grandparents. Okay. From that, what I can say is that I find myself going back and forth with battling those issues. That's what makes it harder for me to even have a relationship. How did you go about doing that if you have with your mom? Is what I would say Mr. T has written.
Well, I think that Mr. You refer to him as Mr. T.
Yeah, I'm referring him to Mr. T. Sorry, guy, because I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think what Mr. T should do is the best relationship that I have with my parent, with my mom today is out of sight, out of mind, because he has to understand that there's no perfect parent out there in the world, and so there is some issues that his parent is going through, something that happened in their childhood, just like my mom's childhood. There's something that had happened, and it is affecting their relationship with their children. So mom or dad will not express what happened in their childhood. For example, my mother had told us on many occasions that whatever happened in her childhood, she is taking it to her grave. So there are some issues that had happened in his parents' life that they do not know how to deal with it. And you're dealing with a different generation now because this generation will express it to the world. And that could be on any social media, or they talking to a therapist or a psychologist. So the best thing for this Mr. T to do is to love his parents, and when he see his parents, give them a hug and say, hey, I love you. But the best relationship for him is out of sight, out of mind. And that's the type of relationship that I have with my mother. Even though 2 days ago it was Mother's Day. Mm-hmm. I called my mom. I told my mom that I love her, and we had a short little conversation. And I told her Happy Mother's Day, and I felt good. But it's the best relationship that I have today with her because it's out of sight, out of mind. And I think that Mr. T should duplicate the same thing because, his parents are not perfect. And he can ask mom and dad what happened, but don't be surprised if mom and dad say, hey, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to take it to my grave. And so he has to, leave it as that and just pray for mom and dad from afar. And that's the best thing you can do.
What I do like, what I do like is what you said. Not all parents are perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect parent out there, because it is true. It's crazy because there's times I find myself having conversations with my other brothers and sisters, and we reflect back on our childhood moments that were, victorious. Others that were like, what in the hell? But it's like you think back and then you think to yourself in the now, you could only imagine what your actual parent has gone through. and how they found a way to find peace of the things that they say, the things that they do, and the way they just maneuver in life. Compared to now, which is true, it's the generation now, even though it's a kind of bit crazy at times, but it's a generation that's more aware of being aware of your presence, of what you say, what you do, and things, and how it can really change not only your life profoundly but others with the actions or non-actions that you do. So that is definitely true. So when it comes to that, how were you able to bridge your relationship? Because I remember in the interview that we did, and also in conversations that we had, that you said that when it was time for you to be when it was time for you to go through your graduating, no one was there for you. No brother, no sister, no mom. How were you able to rise above it? Because everyone is always looking to rise above any type of negative thing. It's easier said than done. I mean, you have to be a person that has to be very strong-minded and really look at the bigger picture and everything like that. So how were you able to say, you know what it is, and still be, be amongst family and friends and be okay, be at peace?
Well, when I graduated in 2012 from Upper Iowa University, I think what really helped me that particular day is that, I had faith, not only faith, but my fortitude and my determination. And I would never forget that driving in that car, getting to the University of Upper Iowa University, and then watching, my class take pictures before the ceremony and after the ceremony. But before the ceremony, I just sat back and just observed the whole situation, watching loved ones, getting ready to walk in and into the ceremony and embrace their child, give them flowers, take pictures before and after. And I remember marching in, and we had to pause for a little bit as we were marching in, and a young lady that her name is Dominica, that we used to study together, and she said to me, "Mr. Hunter, there's no one here to celebrate with you?" And I said, "No, there's no one here." She said, "I tell you what, when they call your name, I'm going to cheer for you." And another friend of mine named Jasmine said, "I am also going to cheer for you." And so that right there lifted my spirit, because, I have two people that was cheering for me. And then also there was a reporter there, and she was cheering for me as well. So as they called my name, they was cheering for me, and I was delighted. You have to rise above negativity. I cannot let anything try to affect my emotions or try to destroy my celebration, because that day was my day. I don't care that, my mama wasn't there, my siblings was not there. It was still my particular day. Today I am free because I learned to forgive and to let go. And see, when you come from the inner city and you trying to change your mindset, people that are close to you see the change in you, and they don't want that change. They don't want to accept that change. They feel comfortable living in poverty. They feel comfortable just enjoying keeping it simple. They just feel comfortable. They don't want no one to rattle or shake the boat. So, to me, I was foreign to them. So I learned, like I said, I learned to, forgive, and I learned to let it go and move forward because, life is too short to hold on to resentment and bitterness and anger. And I'm a person that I have emotional intelligence, and that is the ability to manage your emotions in positive ways to communicate effectively, to overcome challenges, and to diffuse conflict. So I'm just a person that, that's a warrior, and I'm not going to let anyone destroy my day or destroy my celebration.
I really like that. That's very nice. I like how you pretty much sums it up as that's your day. So it's a celebration and a victorious moment for you. So why ruin it for something petty? Because most, well, I would not say everybody, but I would say, like, for example, for myself, there are times where I will fly off the handle if it, because I'm one of those people that like, I don't, for me, I like to plan everything to A to Z. So there's always a backup plan. But I always make sure plan A and B is more successful so I don't ever C. If I get to plan C, then that's really reaching. But to me, it's like the littlest thing. So I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. The littlest thing that's kind of off just really takes over and ruins the whole day for me. And it's not until I heard you say, well, you know what, that day was my day. That day was my victory. And it's not, I'm like, okay, that's a good way to see it. Look at it. Because, a lot of times it's like I said, it's easier said than done. When it's, oh, you have to be bigger. You have to think bigger. The best comment I've ever heard had to have come from Steve Harvey, where he was speaking about, on how for him, forgiveness is not for the person, it's more for yourself, for you to be able to move forward and move on. So that's what I was like, okay, so that's pretty much, but when you hear that in that kind of content, it's like, oh, okay, you know, but then hearing the way you expressed it today is like, okay, yeah, it's like, why would you, kind of like push away and like ruin everything you've worked so many years to get to this point, to say, you know what, because of this lack of support, I'm just gonna rush everything and just rip everything apart. And it's like, instead of doing that, you're like, I'll deal with that later. Now is my time, which is good. It's cool. That's really cool. Now for your book,
well, thank you.
For your book, do you see, because you've written this book, you said you've written this book, so do you see yourself now, do you ever find yourself now when reading your book that you are still the man that was the man at the time that you've written this book? Or do you find yourself evolving? Or do you find yourself, going through the book where you read certain passages in your book and you think to yourself, oh man, I forgot about this. Wow.
Well, you know what? I read this book probably once a month. And I have to say that I have grown as a person spiritually and academically and emotionally as well. And so it's a good book for people to purchase. And it just makes me look at the book and I'm just taken aback of how I came from the inner city and descendants, and also for my siblings, my nieces and nephews, because it wasn't anyone in our family that had a bachelor's degree that was an author. And so laying that foundation was very important, because now many of my family members have taken the initiative to go back to school, to want to be a better person spiritually as well as academically. So, the book is a great accomplishment. So, like I say, I read it once a month just to read it. And I have, seen that, when you write the first book that you ever write, you might say that it's difficult. Yes, it is going to be difficult, but you know what? You can do it, because, your mind is the most strongest, your mind is the most strongest part on your body. It's just strong, and you can do wonders with your mind. And so a lot of people don't understand that we only use 10% of our brain. And if we can, tap in and focus, we can use 80%, and we are dangerous. So, that's why I ask people to go out and get the book, No Love, No Charity, The Success Story of the 19th Child. It's available at Barnes & Nobles, Amazon.com, or you can visit my website, PaulLamarHunter.com. So it's a great book.
No, it most definitely is. The thing that's crazy is that the people that did reach out to me about your book, it seemed like more guys. It's almost like they look at it more of a book of passage for guys. And I'm like, well, no, it's not a book guideline of anything to guide just guys. It's for anyone looking to be able to maneuver through life in the most variety of lifestyles. I'm talking about situations where you can come from, a whole different background compared to yours and mine's. You don't have to necessarily go through what you've went through to know, okay, if I go through this and that and this, like him, it's not one of those type of stories. It's just one of those stories that lets you know, if you could do it, anyone could do it. Because a lot of the guys seem to think that this is a passage book, one of those books to help you yay or nay through life. And it's like, no, it's for guys, it's for women and men, for anyone who dares to, challenge themselves, open a book, read it, and take heed, take help from it.
Yeah, well, it's a good book, and it's so good that Hollywood producers had converted my book into a screenplay. And so one day, people might go to the movie and say, hey, I remember reading that book, and now there's a movie out on this guy's life, So it lets you know that it resonates with not only people, but movie directors and movie producers. It's a powerful book from start to finish. And so people need to go out and get this book, because I guarantee you, if they go out and get this book, their lives will change in a dramatic way.
For you, do you feel like, because you know how they say as a human being, well, I'm a spiritual person, and you know how they say that as a human being, your job is to find out what your calling is and do it to the best of your ability. You said since you were a kid you wanted to be a writer, and you've accomplished a lot more than that, beyond that. Do you feel like you're now what you're here to do?
Yes, I know that I am here to not only write, but to change the paradigm of people. See, when you come from the inner city, mm-hmm. and you come from poverty, the only thing that you're going to think is poverty. Your mindset is always thinking negativity, that you can never come out of it. But you can come out of it. You can change your mind. You can change your behaviors. You can be an honest person. You can be a truthful person. But there are some things that have to change in your life. I really believe that. And one of the things that have to change is those negative behaviors have to change. And people have to start reading positive books. Turn off the television. Don't listen to anything negative. You have to really flood your mind, pump your mind with positive things, because people come from the inner city and they have witnessed nothing but negativity. And so their mindset is totally different from a person that always been around positive thinkers, that somebody told them that you are more than a conqueror. You can complete college. You can pass this test. I did not have that coming from the inner city. I did not have it at all. So what I was able to do was just be around mentors and educators that really helped me out, even though I had to distinguish what is healthy and what is unhealthy. Yeah. So I don't want to go back to that lifestyle of poverty, being neglected, being abused, spiritually, mentally, physically. I don't want that lifestyle anymore. Always, broke and not having enough, just barely getting by. I don't want that lifestyle. I don't want to go back to it. It's not for me. And I think it's unhealthy for people to live that way. But we can change people's perception about life. We really can. We can go back into the inner city and help kids spiritually, academically, emotionally. We can do that. And that's the reason why that next month I will be at the Boys and Girls Club speaking out in Los Angeles, California. And I'm going to inspire them. I'm going to educate them. I'm going to empower them. I'm going to enlighten them, to just go out and be better men and women. And that's what I'm going to do.
What I do definitely appreciate is that you take time out of your busy schedule to dedicate to programs like Boys and Girls Club, and being able to do that in itself is beautiful to me. I've volunteered in many of different types of programs. I had no idea until I moved out here how limited resources and everything are to programs like that. But of course, as you viewers know, you guys can definitely check out the website. You'll find out all the information and the links down below. Do you have? Since you said you were on the radio earlier, doing an interview earlier today. Do you have any up and coming things that the followers, the listeners, can listen to, or get ready to see you on? Because I know you're doing a tour. So in order for people to know exactly when, they can find you on your website. You said PaulLamarHunter.com.
Yes, PaulLamarHunter.com.
They can definitely buy the book at Barnes and Nobles, also on Amazon too. You guys can also find the link down below, and the video link that I thought that was like so cool, because I was like, oh my goodness, Fox 5. So I was able to get that link, so you guys can check out that as well. Because I do know that you're doing some college tours. And for those of you guys who may have missed out on the first episode, I did let you guys know that he is doing a college tour. If you would like to have him speak about himself and this book, all you have to do is go on to Paul Lamar Hunter's website, contact him, and contact your school administrator, whoever you have to, so that way they can get together and have a conversation. What do you think about that, Paul?
And you know what? You are absolutely absolutely right, because I would like to sit down with college students and share my personal story. I think that it will impact their lives and make them better men and women.
Well, is there any last sayings or anything you would like to say? Bid anyone adieu?
Yes. In August, I will be starting a tour. It's going to be announced on my website the first week in August. I will be visiting universities across America. So whenever you go to my website in the month of August, you will see information on what universities that I will be attending. And so you just come on out and meet and greet.
Well, I can't wait because I know you're going to be coming down to Florida. So I'm going to meet you there. And then for those of you guys who do follow me on social media, you guys will see that I will Instagram the video and take pictures. Lots